Okay, I want to start off by giving all praises to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakak Wadash. Double honours to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who teach the Bible in 100% truth. And shalom to the hopeful elect of the 12 tribes of Israel, starting with the 144,000, consisting of the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans in the land of the Americas, as well as the speckled bird, the Israelite foreigners, amongst the other nations. Shalom to you. One particular verse I'm reading here. Obviously, I'm not, doing the screen recording. What I'm reading from today is the Bible, the King James Bible with Apocrypha. If you look in the middle section there, in between the two bookmarks, you see the section on the top, the section in the middle, and the section at the bottom. And this is the New Testament, the Old Testament, with the Apocrypha in the middle. So, reading through this particular Bible, you're going to read through the Old Testament, then you're going to come across the Apocrypha, translated out of the original tongues and with the former translations diligently compared and revised by His Majesty's special command. This was commissioned by King James. This is just when I bought this book. It actually goes back quite far. I bought it off eBay, 1946, 1962. But it says, "To the Most High and Mighty Prince James, by the grace of the Most High, King of Great Britain, France, and Ireland, defender of the faith." It says, "The translators of the Bible wish grace, mercy, and peace throughout Yahweh Shai HaMashiach, our Lord." And so, what you're looking at here is a King James Bible, 1611, the Holy Bible containing the Old and New Testaments, and the Apocrypha, translated out of the original tongues, with the former translations diligently compared and revised by His Majesty's special command. So, we'll always read from the King James 1611, and the reason is this is the last time Hebrew scholars were allowed in on the translation. And I believe King James commissioned 42 scholars to break down the scriptures. And, King James is what you would call today a black man, although there's no actual such thing. But, there's just a construct, but that's what you would call him. You can look up King James 1611. And, a good King James Bible will have the Apocrypha. You'll have the New, Old Testament. You've got the Apocrypha in the middle. And so it's pretty much built into the book. If you go to buy a car and there's only 3 wheels on the car instead of 4, you get home, you're all excited, and you say, I bought this car, and I'm going to say, well, you got done over. Because the car only has 3 wheels. Somebody done you over. You didn't buy a complete car. And it's the same thing with the Bible. If you present to me a Bible, you say this is your Bible, and you're missing the section which is the Apocrypha from within it, I'm simply going to tell you that someone's had you over. The Apocrypha, which stands for hidden writings, should be contained within the Bible. And there's much evidence out there. And obviously, once you go through the Apocrypha itself, it does highlight who the Edomites are and who the Israelites are. Helps you to pinpoint. That's the reason why the Edomites have taken it out, as to hide this truth from you. And people say the book of Enoch and other books should be part of the Bible, but that's not true. The fact that I have a Bible here with the Apocrypha built into it is proof that the Apocrypha should be part of the Bible. Like I say, I had to dig deep, had to find something old in order to find something that had that. But nowadays you won't always get that. You might find prophets speaking with the Bible and then having the Apocrypha separate. But the Apocrypha stands for hidden writings. It's a part of the Bible that was removed in order to propel this lie that the Edomites, the so-called white man, and God is a white man, and so on and so forth, and who the rulers of the earth are today. They've gone to all these lies to keep this secret from us. But I'm going to read one particular verse. This is Proverbs 29, chapter 29, verse 2 says, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. And I chose this particular precept because it's pretty much talking about everybody on the earth, not just the children of Israel. When the righteous are in authority, so the righteous being the children of Israel, the sons of Yahweh, B'Hashem Yahushai, says the people rejoice. And that will happen in the kingdom of heaven. You will witness, the nations will be under captivity, under captivity of the Hebrew Israelites. However, eventually when they see how clean the earth is and how things are run, the lack of adultery, the lack of, wickedness that's going on, ultimately these people will rejoice. It says here, when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. And that's what I'm going to look at today. So, we're living in this world which is run by these Edomites, and the people are mourning. You go through the scriptures, you look at end time prophecy, it's constantly speaking of the nation of Edom. In the scriptures, the nation of Edom is also associated with being the wicked, and it's the nation of Edom, the wicked, that are going to be in rule in the last days, end time prophecy, which we're in now. And it says here, when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. So people mourn, for the lies that are out here. People mourn for the fact that we have to pay taxes. And one thing we all mourn, is our health all around the world. Everybody's constantly diligently trying to steer clear of bad health, and trying to do this, trying to do that, so on and so forth. Yet it seems as if the powers that be are purposely trying to poison you, as if it were to depopulate, as if they think there are too many people. And that's what I'm looking at today. Now this particular machine here, this is why I'm doing the show and tell, because I want to show you this particular machine. And for that reason I'm here in the workshop. That's why it's a little bit dark and dingy, but apologies for that. Now this is a water distiller. Now what happens to me, any water that comes out of my tap to drink, to consume, either through drinking it or through putting it in the food to eat, all the water that comes out of my kitchen sink goes into this machine first. All the water goes into this machine first, and the reason is because I want to purify the water. This is a water distiller, and the only way to take water and remove all the dirt, all the grimes, all the soft metals, and make it pure 100% water is to use a water distiller. You buy water from the tap, or you don't buy it, obviously it comes out the tap, and that water will contain dirt. That water will contain particles of soft metals, so small that you can't see. Now, if I'm doing my sales pitch here, at this point I would hear, one of the customers at the back of the crowd say something. What's that I hear at the back there? Oh, but I drink bottled water. Oh, but don't worry, madam, your bottled water is disgusting too, because bottled water doesn't have the dirt that you have in tap water. It doesn't have the bacteria, all the little infections that are roaming around in there, but it does contain the soft metals. So you at the back there that claim to be drinking bottled water, that's no good either. You're still drinking soft metals. And so you do this over the course of years. These tiny particles that are so small you can't see them eventually going into your body, and ultimately this is poisoning you piece by piece. It's a slow way of poisoning yourself. So if you really claim to be healthy, your body is made up of 70% water. You need water to hydrate yourself, you need water to live. So if you're going to replace the water that you lose from your body, it needs to be pure and clean. If you put dirty water into your body, ultimately you're dirtying the inside of yourself. And so what we're going to do, we're going to have a look at what's happening in here. Okay, so what I did, I was in the workshop a second ago. You were just looking at a machine on the screen, and now I'm back in the house. This is a slightly different machine, same thing. This is a new version. So before I show you what's in the other one, I want to break down the process. This is a new machine that I bought a couple of days ago, because the one you just saw on screen a second ago in the workshop, that one stopped working a couple of days ago, so I had to buy this replacement. It's my fault. I didn't really put the time in to maintain the machine properly. I just kept using it. Not through being lazy, just through being busy. You know, it happens sometimes. You have priorities, and cleaning the machine wasn't exactly my top priority, so it ended up bringing the life of the machine to an end prematurely. Now, it doesn't really matter if I maintain the machine properly or not in terms of the job it's doing. Its job is to produce water. You see what happens, this is the tap. I'm sure you've all got one of these in your house. And the tap can produce water. And what most people do, they fill up the glass with water, and then they go ahead and drink it, which is exactly what I used to do. So we turn that off, and so, you know, this is what I used to drink. It's just, you know, you can see it there, it's pretty clear. You can't see much wrong with it. You can see tiny little particles in there. If you really look sort of a little bit like water bubbles. Who knows? And, you know, people don't really notice it, but, you know, you can see it there. Look, when I zoom it in, you can see on it, it's tiny. But in this area, it is quite bad. You know, some areas aren't so bad. It depends on where you live. So the water comes out of the tap, goes into the glass, and at that point I would have drunk it. This is what I was doing for years. This is what I'm sure many people do. You know, you also use it by putting it into your food. If you boil rice, cooking certain dishes, you'll use water from the tap. Now, so I don't do that. I haven't done that for about 4 or 5 years now. I do not drink water straight out the tap, and I'm going to show you why. And if you came to my house on a really hot day and you were thirsty, and I offered you a glass of water, you wouldn't see those particles. You wouldn't see anything in there. You'd take it. But in that glass of water, there is dirt, bacteria, germs. You know, water's been sitting along the pipes along the way. It's been stored. You think in the morning you wake up and you turn your tap on and you drink that glass of water. That water's been sitting there all night, you know, in the pipes, in you know, so on and so forth. So, you know, I got a tap in my workshop, and the pipe comes from under my house, from the main pipe. So, you know, I don't have hot water in the workshop, but when I turn the tap on, you know, it's, first of all, it's cold for a couple of seconds, and then, because the pipe is obviously buried outside, then you find that the water starts to come through warm, because part of the pipe is stored under the house, and it's warm underneath the house. So even though I don't have hot water in the workshop, when I turn on the tap, it's cold at first. Then the part of the water that has been stored in the pipe, which is sitting under the house, comes through, and it comes warm, and then it goes cold again. So just to show you, that's the reason why we have bacteria and dirt and germs in the water. But you also have soft metals, things like copper, aluminium. You think of metals that you can bend with your hand, you know, things like copper, aluminium, so on and so forth. These are soft metals, and when you break them down into tiny little particles, I don't know how they get in there, you can research that yourself, but they end up in the water. They also end up in the air. You know, I live near an airport, so you have these planes, they dump their fuel. When they get close to the end of their journey, they have excess fuel, they dump it. And this is known as chemtrails, and within the chemtrails are particles of aluminium. So you breathe that in through your nose, and possibly you're drinking it through the water. What's that I hear at the back there? Oh, I drink the bottled water. Yes, well, madam, that bottled water doesn't contain the dirt. That's why it tastes nice. You drink the bottled water, you drink filtered water. Bottled water is filtered. Some people have a filter on their tap, and it tastes clean because it doesn't have the germs or the bacteria. But what about the soft metals? Now that's where this machine comes into play. And so what I do, you see, you know, I've pretty much trained, I'll use that word, I've trained my whole family not to drink straight out of the tap anymore. You know, my wife, even when she's cooking, she won't take water straight out of the tap. all our water goes into this machine first. And this machine is pretty simple, yet it's pretty clever, just like the scriptures. And what happens, you fill up this machine with water, about 4 litres up until about here, and then it starts to boil. You turn it on and it starts to boil the water. It spends about 3-4 hours boiling the water, and what happens is the water turns to steam. The water's in here, starts to boil, it turns to steam and it rises. When the steam gets here, it hits a cold plate, and as you know, when the steam hits the cold plate, it turns back to a water droplet. It then runs down a pathway out of the container into the jug and it collects. So this water, even though these two waters look the same, this one contains bacteria and soft metals. This one is pure water. Now this water, you see, now this water has lost its magnetic appeal, if you like, because it has dirt and aluminium, you know, soft metals in there. It now has no magnetic appeal. You see this water distilled, it's so clean, it's so pure, it's now like a strong magnet. So if you store it in a plastic container from now, what will happen is that that magnetic field on that clean water, that pure water, is so strong, it will suck all the chemicals out of that plastic bottled water into the water. This is strong. This has got a great magnetic pull. So you think now you're a human being and you drink water, and then you go to the bathroom, and you know all the toxins in your body are supposed to be flushed out. The water's supposed to be like a magnet. So when you drink it and it goes through your body, as a magnet, it's supposed to pull all the crap into it, and then you urinate. And that's why, you know, your urine, you know, if you're obviously you've got a lot of toxins in you, and then you urine and they do come out, you know, you'll find it will be like a dark green color. This, which is full of soft metals and bacteria, has no magnetic appeal. Its cleaning ability is shite. It's crap. It's like having a car that you haven't serviced for 12 years and you're wondering why the gas mileage is crap, because you haven't serviced the car. This water is clean, 100% pure water. It has it's a magnetic appeal. You shouldn't store it in plastic containers because it will pull the germs out of the, you know, the plastic, the little particles of, you know, whatever they are, the poisoning plastic particles. It will pull that out of the bottle into the water. It's a strong magnetic appeal. But when you drink it, imagine now when you drink that and it passes through your body and then it leaves, along the way that magnetic appeal has pulled all the dirt. So this will do you a lot better than this, and it's because of this machine. Like I say, simple. You put it in, it boils the water, and it's very simple because when you boil the water and it turns to steam and then delivers into the jug, metal can't boil at 100 degrees, and the bacteria doesn't, you know, both bacteria and metals do not turn to steam at 100 degrees. Only the water can. That's why this is pure water. Okay, so what I'm going to do before we go back to the other machine. The other machine I used for 2 years. I didn't maintain it. I brought the machine to a premature end, and it's outside. What I'm going to do is first of all show you this one here. So this is about, hang on. This machine is about 2 days old. So I think I've used this machine 3 or 4 times. It's been switched on. Okay, I've switched this machine on 3 or 4 times. You can see how shiny it is. It's mint, it's brand new. And now the inside was just clear like this. If you look at that shiny reflective metal, you know how polished, I don't know if you can quite see it there. You can see how clean and mint that is. Look, you can see the reflection. Now the inside was like that only 2 days ago, and now look what it's managed to pull. So the water went in here, it got boiled, it got turned into steam and evaporated away, and then got delivered into the jug. But the metals and the soft metals and the bacteria couldn't. It could only stay in there. It does not have the ability to turn into steam. So you can see pretty much where I've, that's the full line. So that's where I've kind of been filling it to. You can see at the top where it was clean, and now it's collected all this, and it's picking up all that. Now, you know what, the deep thing about this machine, doesn't matter what you put in there, only pure water can come out. So you could take a shoe, for example, you know, a football boot that's covered in mud and grime and grease. You could take something that's oily and greasy and you could put it in there, and then you could still fill that up with water, and still only water will deliver, because only water turns to steam at 100 degrees. So it is simple but very effective. So you think, okay, yeah, wow, that's nasty, look at that. If I hadn't distilled the water that came out of here and put it in here before it went into my food, before it went into my glass, you know, between myself, my wife and my small child, 4-year-old child, we would have consumed that. That would be inside our bodies within the last 2 days, just the 2 days alone. You know, we only put it on twice a day. Let me just put the machine back. We only put it on twice a day. Put it on in the morning, so I get one full 4-litre jug. Put it on again when I go to bed. So when I wake up in the morning, there's the full jug, and I just have a glass jar which we collect it in, and we're able to turn the tap on and off to just take it from there. So, you know, it pretty much goes from the tap into the machine, gets delivered into the container, can go into the glass bell jar, or into the kettle. Now, this is another little one. So you've seen kettles. How many times you opened up the kettle and lime scale, crud, nastiness. Now this kettle doesn't get cleaned at all, but yet it gets used every day. And this kettle's probably well over a year old. And what happens when we look at the kettle? Perfectly clean. No crud, no nothing, no lime scale, because you get lime scale. You know, there's probably lime scale in that other machine as well as the soft metals, as well as the water, bacteria. You know, I live in a hard water area, so the lime scale is generally high. But you know, my kettle doesn't get cleaned. You can see right down the bottom. You can see the reflection. So perfectly clean kettle, because I'm putting perfectly clean water in there. And doesn't matter how many times you turn it on and off and boil it, it will always stay clean. So there's a lesson for you. Now that's not really the big shocker. What we're going to do is we're going to go back to the other machine that I did not clean for 2 years, and we're going to see how much collected in a 2-year period. How much of that silt that we just saw, that soft metals, the dirt, the bacteria, the lime scale, how much of that would have gone into my family's body? Have we consumed that over the last 2 years? Let's go back. Okay, so here we are, yeah, back in the workshop, back with the old machine. This machine took all the water out the tap for 2 years, consumed it and delivered pure water, kept all the dirt in it, and I didn't have the chance to clean it. So we're going to have a look. You know, like I say, this is all the water that I consume, me and my family, we consume through drinking and through our food. You know, what you could also do is use distilled water to wash your face. I know the person who introduced me to this distilled water, that particular person, you know, he also has a 40-litre system. So I've got like a 4-litre system, he's got like a 40-litre system, and delivers obviously a hell of a lot of literage. So he has enough to wash his face in it. And so, you know, where I drink it, I've been drinking this for about 5-6 years now, and I notice a difference. You know, you notice that your mind's a little bit clearer with it. You know, the water tastes better, and it quenches your thirst a lot better. You know, you actually feel the need to want to actually drink it. And you know, it's something different about it. So you could also imagine, you know, using it on your face if you've got sensitive skin. That's something that I've always had. I've always had problem with sensitive skin, you know, different types of acne and boils, so on and so forth. And so, you know, one way to deal with that is obviously using distilled water on your skin. You know, for example, like if you've got a problem with the skin, clearing your skin out, one thing you should be doing is getting into the bath, warm bath, fill it up with Epsom salt. You do that once a month and it sucks a lot of toxins out from your skin. You could obviously imagine the benefits of using distilled water along that process too. But I've worked out, you know, I just quickly did the mathematics on this particular machine here. This is a 4-litre machine. I've used it twice a day for 2 years. And the literage, how much literage have I put in out of this particular machine? Looking at roughly 5,800 litres. You know, I just calculated 4 litres times 2 a day for 2 years. It comes to about, you know, providing I did the mathematics right, it's about 5,000 litres, 5,800 litres of water I've put through this particular machine. And so now, you know, what we're going to do, we're going to have a look inside. And, you know, had I not bought this machine, had you know, not purchased it, obviously this is what my family, me, myself and my wife would have consumed within the last 2 years. Now look at that, it's absolutely disgusting. See this, you know, this is basically limescale, soft metals and you know, just general bacteria. And so, you know, you can see what happened. It built up on the side. Really, I should be cleaning that. I mean, a lot sooner than that. You know, when it gets to like a thin layer, really, you should clear it at that point. But, you know, you look at this stuff, and you know, you can argue what you want. You can say, well, it's this, it's that, it's not this, it's that, it should have been this, it's that, it's this, it's whatever, it's blah blah blah. The bottom line is that should have gone into my family's bodies within the 3 of us within the last 2 years. Had we just drunken the water straight out of the tap. I mean, this is rock solid. Look, you know, you've got to snap it. You can see the sort of, I don't know if you can see it in the, you know, it's just there's different layers of it there as it gets cooked. And obviously towards the back there where it starts to get a bit old. And that's the kind of the newer stuff there. You know, you can see how it's just a grit. You know, and if you were to take that glass of water, you dip it in there, you know, you have no idea that it's gone in there. Yet the fingers are clean. So you can imagine all that. You know, argue what you want about what it is. Bottom line is, if I hadn't bought a water distiller in the last 2 years, this is exactly what me, my wife and my child would have consumed within our bodies every time we eat, every time, you know, we drink. Now, what you've got to realize is quite important. You know, I explained, you know, you could use distilled water to wash your skin. It'd probably help a lot better if you have skin problems. But you definitely want to use it for obviously what you drink. Now, if you imagine inside your body, you know, your skin is like this piece of paper, and you take the water, and you know, if I drop the water on the piece of paper and we leave it there for a minute, you know, the water's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to it hasn't had time to blow away or evaporate or disappear. Yet what's going to happen is the water's going to eventually start to sink through. It won't happen just yet. We'll just give it a little bit longer. But eventually that water will disappear. It's like if you put water in your hand and leave it there for a while, it will disappear. You give it a few minutes, it will disappear because the water sinks into your skin. It's a process called osmosis. You know, you don't know if you can see it. There you go, look, so it's all wet around there now. So eventually the water's sinking through. If I keep putting it on a dry place, it will just sink through. So you know what I'm saying. You know, if you don't understand that, I don't know what to tell you. So this is called osmosis. You put the water there, it passes through the substance, and it's called osmosis. This happens inside your body. That's why when you drink water, you feel hydrated. So imagine now, if this substance, the grit of this is mixed in with the water. You drink it, it goes into your body, it goes into your stomach. The goodness of the water tries to, you know, go through the process of osmosis, passing through the insides of your body in order to hydrate yourself. You know, you've got this stuff kicking around, and this is 2 years worth. So what do you think happens after, you know, 30, 40, 50 years worth? You end up with little lumps which cannot pass through, because these things do not operate through osmosis. You know, this does not, there's no osmosis. This is not osmosis. It's not gonna, you know, I can leave it on my hand for days, for years, for centuries. It's not gonna disappear into my hand. There's no osmosis occurring with that. So you drink this dirty water, it goes into your body. The process of osmosis has to take place for the water to pass through and do its job. Eventually, over time, you're having these deposits, you know, this grit. Over years and years, it's turning into that. And then now, you know, you could be suffering from things like dementia. You know, you've got blockages in the brain, things suppressing particular nerves. You know, people get all these gallstones, bladder stones, so on and so forth. So all types of problems. Bottom line is, you know, you can debate and argue. What are you going to actually get from it? Well, I don't really want to find out. You know, like I say, when the wicked are, you know, beareth rule, the people of the world mourn, pretty much. And people mourn. They mourn for their sickness, for their health, and the powers that be. They do it to you. You know, they have all these millions. They drive around in chauffeur-driven cars. These private jets, mansions that they live in, these plush buildings that they go to meet up in, these houses of parliaments, these Senate buildings. Then they have all these things that they put on, you know, the military, these shows, the fireworks shows, all these different displays, all these different things going on all around the year. All the money that gets spent, all the millions, you know. How can you be discriminatory? We're living in a civilized society in modern day 2024 with all this technology. Well, if it's so advanced, how come you got shit in your water? How come you're drinking this? See, if like I'll give you an example. I showed this to my neighbor. Like one day I bumped into the neighbor and I was like, look, listen, you want to get one of these? And the wife, you know, there's a couple, and what it is, the wife was like, no, you know, blah blah blah, this, that and the other. And I was like, yeah, whatever, if you don't want to do it, don't do it, it's cool, I just gave you some good advice. And she tried to say to me, oh, you know, if you like distill the water supply, you're losing a lack of a supply of calcium. And I'm like, what? How the fuck should I be relying on the tap water for a supply of calcium? Shouldn't that be coming through the milk, or the cheese, or the whatever else I should be eating to get calcium? Why am I going to the tap to fucking get calcium? And this shows you how stupid people are. So she went on it. It's cool. I just gave her the advice. She just gave a little comment, and I went, yeah, cool. So she don't want to use this type of machine. So what do you think her and her husband have done for the last 2 years? They've consumed this. They've consumed all that. All that is trapped inside their bodies, nesting somewhere, and you know, eventually, you know, it leads to health problems. And you know, she's overweight anyway, so you know, how can you take health advice from somebody who's overweight? But yeah, that's the process of osmosis. And you know, this stuff here, this does not want to go through osmosis. You know, this is like a bucket of stones. Look, if I really get my hands in it, this is no different from going to a building site. You know, you've got a little hole in the concrete in the floor. You need it patched up. I've got a little hole where there used to be a fence post here. Now there's a hole left in the concrete. You've got the builder around. He's gonna, you know, patch up that little concrete hole. What's he gonna do? He's gonna take this kind of shit and he's gonna pack it out up until about an inch from the top of the hole, and then he's gonna lay wet cement in there, and this is gonna give the structure strength. That's what it's used for. That's all I can use this for. You know, I want to throw this machine in the bin. I need to do something with this. I mean, what can I use it for? I can use it to fill holes in cement wherever, you know, there are patches to be filled. And I'm not joking. I'm laughing, but it's not a joke. It's actually true. I'm laughing because it is actually so true. You know, look, you wouldn't notice. It's like your beach. It's like your beach coming through your tap. You wouldn't have a clue. You know, and how much germs do you think are in there? What level of bacteria is in there? We can't even measure that, but you know, the bottom of the machine's there. You've seen it. You know, look, this is what I'm talking about. See? Now I could come to your house, like, you get rid of that big bit there, right? If I come to your house now and dip my hand in the jug of water, you wouldn't notice it was there. You would drink it, and then you try to, you know, and when it goes through your body, it tries to go through osmosis, but it won't go through. The water will go through the paper or the skin, but the stones don't go through, you know, the solid stuff. So like I say, after time, you know, you've got shit like this blocking up your body. You have a thing inside your brain called the pineal gland, what you can see on the screen. And so, you know, what you've just seen on the screen previous with the solid material that's coming out of the water, you know, if you're not distilling the water, that's getting into your body. And what it then does, it goes forward to help calcify your pineal gland. Now, your pineal gland is also known as your third eye. Many different cultures speak of this third eye. You can look into it yourself. Just give you a quick description here. It says, why is the pineal gland known as the third eye? It says the pineal gland was commonly called the third eye for many reasons, including its location deep in the center of the brain and its connection to light via the circadian rhythm and melatonin secretion. And, you know, so a lot of your natural bodily functions, you know, are controlled by the pineal gland. It says here, many spiritual traditions believe it serves as a connection between the physical and spiritual worlds. And that's what we tell you. You know, you have these prophets, for example, you read of in the Bible. They have these particular visions, and you know, they have a connection with Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, and they're able to you know, receive that connection through the third eye, through the pineal gland. So you imagine now, you know, you're living in a society where all these poisons are in the food and the water all around you, and a lot of these things go forward to calcifying your pineal gland. So that now shuts down your spiritual intuition. It more or less, you know, goes forward to block your spiritual antenna, your connection to Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai. So now you understand how important it is, for example, with the distilled water, because that's a big thing. Don't forget, in 2020 and 2021, they wanted you to take the jump shot, you know, the uppercut jab. They wanted you to take that thing. They were trying to get the whole world on it, and they had the thing with the test, and that was right up the back of the passage, up the nose or the mouth. And the reason for that was because they were trying to get it close to the pineal gland, to get it up there, to calcify it, or in other words, to kill it. That's the goal of these devils that we live under. And you look around society, you've got these people that are like acting like robots. You know, they go to work, they go home, they watch TV. The patterns of behavior they see on TV, they go out into the world the next day, they repeat them. And these people are very much like robots. They don't seem to have their own sense of ability or awareness to be able to sort out their own problems, and it's because their mind has been boxed off, you know, by the predictive programming of society. So, you know, with their pineal glands calcified, now their spiritual intuition is gone, and so that's why they follow that robotic pattern and whatever is pushed in front of them. Don't forget, you know, we're here and we're able to see outside of that. You know, we're able to look at these people in society, realize there's a problem with them. We're able to look at the rulers of society and realize there's a problem with what they're pushing. So why is it that we're so different? Because, you know, we're awake through the Spirit. Ezekiel chapter 37, great awakening taking place. Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, put the Spirit on us. And now our third eye, our pineal gland, is fully open. We receive messages. Sometimes you receive visions when you're sleeping, dreams. And sometimes I've had a vision being awake, just like the prophets. So you're awake and you receive a vision, you receive information and understanding through your third eye. Sometimes, you know, many times, should I say, people, men of the Lord, are giving out lessons. The Spirit jumps on them. The Spirit talks to them through their third eye. But because they're in the flow and they're too busy speaking and they're coming up with thoughts, you know, when the Spirit speaks to them through their third eye, to them it just seems as one of their own thoughts, so they just speak it. And that's how, you know, why do you come to this particular channel? You don't come here because I'm going to give you free giveaways once a month, or I'm going to, you know, hit you with some heavy music at the end of my videos. I've got no naked women to show you, and no fast cars. So you're only coming here because you believe the Holy Spirit is working through me, and you want to hear that. You don't want to hear me, you want to hear the Holy Spirit. When I tune into certain people, I'm not tuning in to hear them. I'm tuning in to hear the Holy Spirit. I know the Holy Spirit works through their third eye, through their pineal gland. They understand it and they speak it. And they are the children of Yahweh, Bahashim, Hawashai, or the prophets who have the secrets. And it's all through that connection. Now, you know, with that connection which this devil wants to block and cut off. Now look in here, look, calcified, I spelt it wrong, it should be pineal, calcified pineal gland. An intact and functional pineal gland is necessary for preserving optimal human health. Unfortunately, this gland has the highest calcification rate among all the organs and tissues of the human body. Pineal calcification jeopardizes melatonin synthetic capacity and is associated with a variety of neuronal diseases. So, you know, calcifying your pineal gland is not good for your health. And if it's not good for your health, it's also not good for your spiritual intuition. That's what you get from your third eye. So that's why calcifying the people's third eyes, you know, I believe there's stuff in your toothpaste, the fluoride, that's calcifying your pineal gland. All these things that you're consuming every day, that you're putting into your mouth. You know, maybe they go all the way down your throat, maybe they're just in your mouth, but at some point they're getting into you and traveling into your body and calcifying that pineal gland. Now you're living in a society where that's happened to the population so much, so often, for so many years. You're walking around and people are like robots. They can't work out basic stuff. They freak out over basic things. You know, you put them in a problem, they can't work their way out of it. They've got no intuition. And then obviously coming back to the spiritual intuition, when they get directed towards doing things that are blatantly against a God, if there were a God, and these people have no problem doing it because their pineal gland is locked up inside that rock, that calcified, solid, disconnected from the world. And as it says here, unfortunately, this gland has the highest calcification rate among all organs and tissues. You know, this devil wants to block our pineal gland, you know, cut off our spiritual connection. He also wants to implant you with the MOTB and hijack it. He then wants to send signals to you, read the signals traveling around your body, and become the Most High, and then have control over you, have control over your moods, so on and so forth. So he's going to be offering this MOTB, this AI technology, cut into the metapon or into the hand. You know, he's going to try to use it to, you know, tell people with mental health problems, come here, come to me, and I can fix everything for you. So it's a devilish plan to calcify the pineal gland of the masses and then introduce them with the MOTB as a replacement. It's all coming through that what you see there in the middle, the yellow part. That's the pineal gland within your brain. So this is why we need Yahweh Shai. This is why we need to get out of here. You know, state of affairs, living under these Edomites, these devil people. You know, they ruin the state of the world, everything, even the water supply. So buy yourself a water distiller. Do yourself a favour. If you don't, and you start complaining, you know, I've got this problem and that problem, you know, you only got to look at yourself. I mean, there's many things you can do. A lot of the food we buy is poisoned, chemicals, and so on and so forth. So there's many things you can do. But this is a major one. People say, well, why is that particularly important, more important than this or that or that? And I'm like, because you are made of water. And you lose water when you go to the bathroom, when you sweat. And that's why when you get dehydrated, you get headaches, because you're missing a part of you. So you then have to replace that and obviously, you know, if you're doing it, you're doing it with this. I mean, I know man is made of the dust of ground, you know, Adama and all that, but I mean, this is pushing it a little bit too far. So I hope that was edifying. But like I say, you know, we need, you can clock my little thing there. Ark of the Covenant, this is a thing. Imagine my auntie had this kicking around. She left it at my mum's house for years. And I had no idea what it was about. And then you come to the truth, and then you realise, oh, the Ark of the Covenant, the Israelites. You can see at the top there, the Ark of the Covenant, which the Ark of the Covenant now is Yahweh Shai. You've got the tabernacle on the left, you've got those dressed in white, and then at the top there you've got the chariot, and that's what we need. We need Yahweh Shai, we need the chariot, we need the deliverance of the elect, the destruction of this kingdom and the setting up of the kingdom of heaven. So I'll leave it right there. All praises to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Rakak Kodash, and until next time, Shalom.